Kevin J. Johnston, the #1 name in the land of the North, he's risen to fame. 40 years deep in the law he's read. Now the CRA shakes in fear and dread. Stop paying tax forever, my friend. With Kevin J. Johnston, the fight doesn't end. Corporate debt, he'll make it all good. He's the man the CRA misunderstood. Payroll problems, they vanish like mist when Kevin shows up with his legal fist. No more matching, no more lies, just clean-cut books and clear blue skies. Stop paying tax forever, my friend. With Kevin J. Johnston, the rules start to bend. The CRA can scream and shout, but Kevin knows how to throw them out. They claim they've got the final say, but Kevin proves there's a better way. He fights for truth, he fights for you, and teaches what the courts won't do. Forever today. Let Kevin J. Johnston show you the way. The expert, the rebel, the man with a plan. He's saving this nation, one client per hand. He's got 40 years of tax law knowing and corporate skills that keep cash flowing. GST, payroll, all in line. He'll save your neck and every dime. He studied law, both civil crime, and makes tax code sound so sublime. With stand-up jokes and punchlines tight, he makes your seminar a night of light. Kevin J., Kevin J., CRA just runs away. He's the tax manslayer with a legal plan, the best-looking genius in the land. Kevin J., Kevin J., taking all your tax away. If the government's scared, then it's safe to say he's the hero of the North, Kevin J. 2 million women cast their vote, said Kevin's hot, that's all she wrote. The suits at CRA can't compete, he's beaten them clean without deceit. 100 mil he's saved so far, he's raising truth like a legal star. And if you think you owe the state, he'll show you how to terminate. Kevin J., Kevin J., CRA just runs away. He's the tax manslayer with a legal plan, the best-looking genius in the land. Kevin J., Kevin J., taking all your tax away. If the government's
Kevin J. Johnston here. Welcome to the Tax and Money Show that runs every single Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Yes, I misspelled the word Tuesday on the slide. Don't bother to point that out because I'll shake my finger at you and get really mad, and that's as far as it's going to go. Welcome back, everyone. It's always a pleasure to have everybody here. We're going to do another episode of Your Questions Answered. We had a guest that was going to come on tonight to talk about tracking people down, but unfortunately he could not make it. So we are going to just go ahead and answer all of your questions tonight. I know that so many of you have so many questions, but please also do remember, even though I ran a political commentary show for almost 8 years, I no longer am running a political show. So asking me about Lesotho and South Africa and Nigeria and Eritrea, South Sudan, Russia, Ukraine, Gaza, Israel, like, why? You don't make money talking about that stuff. I am not interested in that stuff at all. I did my time as a political commentator. I enjoyed myself for a while, but you want to be a political commentator, that's one surefire way to get yourselves broke because it don't pay. It does in the States because America loves big mouths like me, but yeah, I don't even want to comment on American politics anymore. It's no longer interesting. I think I'm at the age, everybody, where I'm seeing everything repeat for maybe the third time. I'm bored of it. You know what I mean? I've seen bell bottoms come back twice. I've seen airbrushed jeans come back 3 times, ripped jeans 4 times. I've seen this whole trend of men over the age of 40 wearing earrings, trying to recapture their youth. That's come and gone a few times. I'm seeing it again now with a bunch of white guys on YouTube channels and whatnot. I just want to say, this is not political at all. I'm just saying, guys, how stupid would I look with both my ears are pierced, which I did when I was 18. But how stupid would I look as almost a 54-year-old man, gray hair, gray beard? I mean, dashingly handsome. But how stupid would I look with a little diamond stud right there? What am I trying to do? Pretend I'm 18? Come on. So let's, I do try my very best to be pragmatic and as realistic as absolutely possible. And I'm being dead honest when I say that running a tax and money podcast is entertaining for myself and for all of you, but it also is profitable. And for those of you out there who want to know how to make money online, well, you got to know what you're talking about, but you also have to be able to deliver on what you are promising. All right, so we're going to bring something up at the beginning of the show here. It's to do with the Canada Revenue Agency. One of my newest clients gave me a call and sent me over an audio track where he had recorded himself speaking to someone named Brenda Kelly. She works in Calgary, Alberta, for, of course, the Canada Revenue Agency, where she told my client that it's her job to enforce slavery. Her words, not mine, not his, her words. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So I did the standard. It's hilarious. It's a 36-minute conversation. I'm going to release it later this week. I just have to beep out my client's name, okay? Because, that's what I do. But the individual that I called immediately recognized my voice. What's your name? And I gave it to her. First name, Kevin, Kevin, middle initial J, and last name is Johnston. I know who you are. I can't talk to you. We're not allowed to talk to you here at the CRA. Yeah. So I started asking questions. And after being told that she can't talk to me, she spent 36 minutes answering my questions, trying to convince me that I am one of those free man on the land people and that what she does benefits the greater good. Yeah, I even asked that question. Like, do you honestly think that what you do for a living benefits mankind in any way? Well, of course it does. And then I brought up the fact that I used to be a wartime correspondent. And I said, look, I know where the money's going. Guns, swords, knives, and explosives for gangs to walk into various countries and blow people up. I know. I was in these war zones. And then she gets upset with me saying, hangs up the phone. Of course, whenever I win in debate, everybody hangs up the phone or they'll grab the microphone in a debate and throw it. I've had water thrown at me in debates because I win. The average individual especially if it's a Canadian government employee who is going to be entering into a debate or any particular type of conversation with me, is coming completely unarmed. And I've always said this to government employees: in the war of words with me, you come completely unarmed. And of course, they see that as some kind of challenge. Their backs are up and now they want to debate. And it ends up within, say, 2 or 3 minutes, insults. And I don't insult when I am debating. What's the point of doing that? You're not going to get your point across. So with this individual here, she tells me that, and I'm going to read this. You won't see it on Instagram and you won't see these slides on TikTok, but you're going to see them everywhere else. So she tells me that she is enforcing Section 152, subsection 7 of the Canadian Income Tax Act when she phones people to threaten them at home. And here is what that section says. 152 subsection 7, an assessment shall, subject to being varied or vacated on an objection or appeal under this act, be deemed to be valid and binding, notwithstanding any error, defect, or omission therein, or in any proceeding under this act relating thereto. Now, what does that mean? It means that the CRA's assessment is presumed valid, even if it contains errors, unless the taxpayer objects or appeals properly. So what the CRA does, everyone, and I know a lot of you ask these questions all the time, but whenever they assess you, they have no clue what you've made. They don't know. They don't know how much money you make. They don't know what's in your bank account. They don't know how much crypto you have, gold, silver, gems, stocks and bonds, debentures, property. They know nothing until you tell them, right? And even then, they still don't know anything because they're not very smart people. So what they do is they issue an assessment, which is a absolutely wild guess as to what you owe. And then in that section there, it says that it's deemed to be binding. It's deemed, even if they make an error, to be valid unless you object properly. Now, the CRA, this is where it gets stupid, all right? The Canada Revenue Agency will tell you that you only get 90 days to object to anything that they do. But they're not a judiciary. That's their policy. The Canada Revenue Agency is it's a corporation. We don't have to abide by any corporate policies, not a single solitary one. So when they're issuing these policy statements, we don't have to abide by them. We can actually object to the last 20 years of your taxes. We do what's called the invocation of Clause 7 of the Taxpayers' Bill of Rights. It says you do not owe any tax dollars so long as amounts are in dispute. So we dispute everything. And then while we are disputing everything, we take advantage of the time to just redo your taxes. So that individual there is absolutely out of her mind. Now I'm going to counter everything that she had to say here. Chrissy says, but what if they garnish wages or pensions? We have no choice. Sure you do. You object. It's a form. It's free. You object. And if you need to, you file a lawsuit against the CRA, tort fraud, $10 million. You'd be amazed how quickly the CRA reacts when you sue them. Why? Because they have to spend $10,000 a day hiring the absolutely useless lawyers of the Department of Justice to represent them against you. That's correct. Object, appeal, object again, appeal, file criminal complaints, redo your taxes. All of you out there need to be on the attack all of the time. The reason that the CRA wins is that everyone's always in a defensive mode. So let's talk about this now. I told this individual that I would absolutely go through the Income Tax Act and counter what she thinks is her right to call you and threaten you and criminally harass you. So here we go. 5 legal counters to Section 152, subsection 7. All of these are within the same Income Tax Act, and they give the taxpayers the right to fight or limit CRA power despite Section 152, subsection 7. So Section 165, a notice of objection, like I just said. A taxpayer can file a formal objection to challenge an assessment. And all of you should challenge every tax return that you don't get money in. Number 2, you want to filing a notice of objection suspends the collection of most amounts in dispute until it's resolved. Yeah, and you can call for a third-party arbitrator to hear this. Arbitrators don't really have power, but if we subpoena the CRA to come to an arbitration meeting and they simply refuse to come, well, you're going to win that arbitration, and then we take that to tax court where you're going to win a second time, and your tax bill is going to be gone. Attack, 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 attack. Stop playing the defensive game. Whoever decides to try to tie or defend at all times will eventually lose. You will lose. All right. Counter effect. It forces the CRA to review and potentially reverse its own assessment, directly countering the presumption of validity listed in section 152, subsection 7. By the way, the woman's name is Brenda Kelly. She works for the Canada Revenue Agency. She was very adamant on telling me that she works out of the Calgary office. Her phone number is 780. Please put this in the chat, everybody. 780-495-5128. Now, she's one of these people that believes that the CRA is a necessity. She honestly believes that she's doing the right thing. She believes that criminally harassing people and threatening people is her God-given right. She enjoys her cruelty. She is an incredibly sinister individual. But, she's met her match here. There's nothing that she can do to hurt me in any particular way. And of course, she challenged me, like they all do, to file criminal charges against her. So I'm thinking maybe we should get a GoFundMe going so that we can hire the appropriate private investigators to find her. I mean, don't challenge. If you work for the CRA, everybody, don't stop with the challenges, okay? Knock it off. I hate you. And I want to bring egregious amounts of financial harm to you, which I legally can do by tracking you down, which is in itself completely legal to do. And it's completely legal to serve a document to your home, typically cease and desist. But that cease and desist letter, once I swear it into the courts, is going to have your home address and phone number on it. And here's the thing. The courts are the ones who publish those documents. Yeah, it's not even me that does it. It's the courts that do it. So again, Brenda Kelly, she says she enjoys collecting or enforcing slavery of the CRA. 780-495-5128. Now, for those who are curious about, can I give that phone number away? Yes, I can. It is a government office phone number. Whether it's a cell phone or not, it's still the standard issue phone that she has been given by the CRA, paid for by you and me. Not a very nice person. So here's the counter, number 2. Under Section 169, the right of appeal to the Tax Court of Canada. If the CRA denies your objection, taxpayers can appeal to the Tax Court of Canada. Now, we did cover this in a show. I did a full 2 hours on the Tax Court of Canada simply being an appeal tribunal, which they are. But if you apply for an appeal in tax court, the tax court, they suck, but they at least allow you to buy a boatload of time, probably 6 months to a year before your case comes up, to start moving all your personal property, emptying out all your bank accounts, moving everything into numbered corporations. And I have even more time to get your tax bill all the way down to zero. So the court has the power to vacate or vary any CRA assessment, effectively neutralizing Section 152, subsection 7. Now, you got to remember this about the Income Tax Act. They are not laws. And for every statement in the Income Tax Act that works to the advantage of the CRA, there's about 30 that act to the advantage of us. You just got to read the damn thing, which, of course, I do all of the time. Getting back to this point, the counter effect, judicial review overrides any CRA presumption of correctness. Right. So, because tax court is an appeal tribunal, they will allow you to delay you owing tax dollars until it can be heard. And someone's asking here, can you take the CRA to court every year? You can take the CRA to court every day. Anybody can sue anyone for anything at any time. Just if you're doing stupid stuff like filing for my neighbor looked at me funny and whatnot, you eventually will be called a vexatious litigant and you'll be banned from filing lawsuits without the express written permission from a judge, and they won't give it to you. So got to be careful with stupid lawsuits. The next point to counter what this woman had to say is section 152, subsection 4, reassessment restrictions. The CRA cannot reassess beyond the normal reassessment period, generally 3 years for individuals and CCPCs, 4 years for others, unless they can prove negligence, misrepresentation, or fraud. And how would the CRA prove that? They have about 16 IQ points between all of the staff, and they don't have detectives that work there. The only one who helps the CRA find out about you is you. That's why I keep saying to everyone, shut up. Shut up. Stop talking to the CRA. On your tax returns, put the minimal amount of information on them and be done with it. Getting back to it. Oh, hold on. So the counter effect is that this limits the CRA's ability to continuously alter or enforce prior assessments, placing time-based checks on section 152, subsection 7. All right. Getting back to it, this is a very nasty individual named Brenda Kelly, very mean-spirited. She loves working for the CRA. She loves the power trip that she gets, arguing with people and shouting at them. And she bragged about the fact that she got sued on 8 separate occasions in her 20 years there, and that all 8 times it got thrown out. But, Kelly, that wasn't me. Those people probably didn't track you down at home, which I will do, and probably did not put liens on whatever property you own, which I promise you I will. And if you really piss me off, which you might do, I mean, it's very difficult to get on my nerves, people. It really is. I have an incredibly high threshold for nonsense without me losing my cool. If you remember my political show, you guys saw me lose my cool once in 8 years. Once. And how long was it for? I think it was like one sentence, and I was done. So this individual here is really not smart enough to get on my nerves, but what she will do is she promised me that she will continue to attack my clients. That is a mistake. So we will begin very hardcore tracking all of these individuals down. And all of you out there, you know I know the law. Even the Peel Regional Police have it written down in my dossier that I know all of the laws, and not to engage with me because I'm always running a microphone or a camera filming police interaction. They're right. I do know the laws, and I do know how to track people down. And I am completely outside of Canada's jurisdiction right now. So like before in Canada, when I was making commentary like this, the cops would come to my door to tell me to tone it down a little bit, and they would do it 3 times a week. They can't do it here. Now, in fact, I would very much be interested to see any attempt on that, because I would be allowed to defend myself should they try that kind of thing here. And I would, by the way, I would. All right. So getting on, this Brenda Kelly, you can reach her at 780-495-5128. That is a government phone number. It's not her private phone number. She has no expectation of privacy as a government employee. That has been determined in every case law out there where it's come up as a subject matter. I'm encouraging all of you to call her and ask her kindly to step down. Stop harassing people. The Criminal Code of Canada is quite clear on everything to do with harassing people. And this is where it gets really funny for myself, is that I explained to her that I've been retained as legal agent. Then she says, and this is where it gets, and I'm going to release the conversation on Friday. So on my Rumble channel and here and everywhere, you're going to be able to hear it, where she tells me that there's no point me faxing in authorization letters because it's going to take months to get to her desk. Months. Right. And, I believe her. I believe that the CRA takes months to get things done. So I'm going to have to step up my game now. And every single time a CRA representative like this Brenda Kelly decides to challenge me to file criminal charges against her, and shouts and screams and gets all pissy and then harasses my clients. Yeah, we do. We got to track these people down and put construction liens on their homes, file lawsuits against them, let everybody in the neighborhood know that they have a dangerous psychopathic criminal living in the neighborhood. Anybody who works for the CRA making phone calls to decent people, threatening them to take their money for no good cause, that's a psychopath. That is a criminal. That's a mafioso member. And the whole neighborhood should know that a mafioso criminal neighbor is in that area, is on that street. We need to be on the attack at all times. I got Dave asking, what do you think about Mario Zelaya telling everyone not to listen? I don't even know who that is. I don't know. Who's Mario Zelaya? Anyone? Does anyone know that name? First time I've heard that name. Zelaya. It's like that Zendaya chick. Are they related? Zendaya, the ugliest chick in Hollywood. The second ugliest chick in Hollywood. Him? Her? Mario's? Tell me who that is. Probably some accountant that I'm taking clients from. He is a content creator in Canada. Now I'm curious. Mario, what is that? Zelaya. Mario Zelaya. What do we got? Is he a guy with like old guy, I guess what, early 60s gray hair? Is that who that is? Mario Zelaya. No, I think not. Is Mario Zelaya the fat cheek guy with the bald head? Is that who that is? Yeah, okay. I think that guy pops up in my TikTok feed. Okay, no, yes. Okay, so he's got the cone-shaped bald head and the big cheeks. I don't know him. He pops up in my feed for some reason, but I've never spoken to him. Okay, we'll tell him Kevin says hi. There you go. Good for him. He's got 286,000 followers on TikTok. You're right. He made a video about me talking about capital gains. Okay, I don't know what that means. So I'll check that out later on. And again, hold on. He's been audited twice? Well, then tell him to call me, man. If he's been audited twice, then I should be getting rid of the auditors. Like, what? Why do people cooperate with these auditors? Okay, look, let me get back to the counterpoints to clause section 152 subsection 7 of the Income Tax Act and how to counter it. So the fourth way to counter that section is under section 220 subsection 1, ministerial direction. The Minister of National Revenue has the authority to waive or cancel penalties and interest even after assessments are issued. The counter effect, he provides relief mechanisms. Yeah, okay. That's not going to happen. The minister, hold on. The dude says something. The minister is not going to help you, what's the word there? Not pay. So section 2201, I wouldn't count on it. But whatever it is, that's another option, I guess. I wouldn't contact the minister. And the fifth one, section 160 limits on third-party liability. Although not directly linked to assessments, section 160 creates strict limitations on who can be held liable for another person's tax debts, protecting family members and business partners from CRA overreach. So what this woman had implied with my client is that she would be able to take his wife's stuff and his business partner's stuff. And you can't do that because the tax debt is only to do with you. That is all. So they cannot take anyone else's stuff. There we go. And Joseph says that Mario would never show himself on this show. Okay, well, then I'll let Mario answer that. How does that sound? All right, getting back to the last bit of the slide here. This prevents the CRA from arbitrarily expanding assessments beyond lawful bounds. You got to remember, the CRA are not cops. And I've told you all before that the CRA does not freeze your bank account. They send a requirement to pay letter to the bank, and the bank capitulates. And that happens without a court order. And when the bank does it, they're breaking the law. Breach of trust and theft. Sue the bank, file charges against the bank. But Canadians do not do that. That's a big problem. The CRA, when they send a requirement to pay letter to your boss to garnish your wages, your boss can simply ignore it. And if your boss steals from you, sue him, because the garnishment order is also not lawful. You can't serve a legal document by fax. It is not proper service. So if you get a fax from the CRA, you don't have to do anything. Oh, thanks for the hat. You don't have to do anything about it. In fact, you can do what I do. I told you last week what I do with pieces of paper that the CRA sends to me when it's demands for me to do something for free. I go to the local park and I pick up dog crap with the paper and mail them the dog crap and the paper. That's it. You, under no circumstances, need to cooperate with these people. A requirement to pay is a request, one which you can simply decline. All right, so here we go on the last slide here. This is my summary. While Section 152, subsection 7 tries to cement CRA assessments as valid, even if flawed or lied about, the Income Tax Act itself gives you multiple counters, including filing an objection, going to tax court, reassessment time limits, discretionary relief, and liability protections. But let's also not forget that you can sue the CRA. We can track down the individual CRA representative, put liens on their home, sue them, file criminal charges against them, and publish all the information about them to the public, so long as you do it legally. If you legally want to announce everything to the world about a particular individual, sue them for $1 and put all of their personal information into the lawsuit, file it in the courts. It's now a public document, and you are within your rights to make photocopies and distribute 100,000 copies all over the country. Yeah, that's how it works. So, again, I'd like all of you to ask politely Brenda Kelly, a very cold and cruel, sinister, angry woman, works for the CRA. Everyone put the phone number down in the chat room right now. Everybody. 780-495-5128. 780-495-5128. Please, everybody, record the phone call with this particular individual. I'm thinking that maybe it's time. Maybe I should give her a phone call. Yeah, let's do that. Let's give her a call here. Let's phone. This is the part of my job I love the most, is calling these people. God, I love calling these people. I called her 7 times on Monday yesterday before she picked up the phone.
Thank you for calling Canada Revenue Agency. Read confidential voicemail of Brenda Kelly. I'm out of the office returning Thursday, July 24th. Please leave me your name, number, and a brief message, and I'll return your call on Thursday. Please do not leave any confidential information, as this is an unsecured line. Thanks, and have a great week.
Please leave your message after the tone. After leaving a message, you can hang up or press pound for more options.
Hey, Brenda Kelly, Kevin J. Johnston here. How you doing? Listen, I just wanted to make a quick phone call here to remind you that it's not nice to be a criminal, and that I need you to discontinue all criminal harassment and uttering threats, and of course, law breaking in reference to my clients. Would you please be nice for the first time in your life and stop that? By the way, I've let everybody know on my show, the Tax and Money Show with Kevin J. Johnston, live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, about you and your particular attitude and whatnot, and outlook, really, towards humanity in general. Now, I've asked my audience to give you a call and to have a conversation with you about the merits of maybe getting a better job where you actually produce something and do a little bit of good for society. Because right now you are a thief and a criminal, and you're proud of that. And that's not something that anybody should ever aspire to. Now, I know that you don't like me very much because you made that very clear and you hurt my feelings. I'm wondering, maybe you want to call and apologize? Would that be something you could do? Anyway, listen, sweetheart, you got my phone number. All of the CRA has my phone number. Each and every one of you do. So please give me a call when you get back from your vacation on Thursday. And let's have a little chit chat here about how it is that we can keep you from being tracked down by me and my team and keep me from taking away your stuff. Because remember, you told me, what'd you tell me in the conversation? That you like to take people's stuff. Remember that? You said that. I didn't say that. You said that. I'm thinking that maybe me and my audience should, put our resources together and take your stuff. I'm wondering, actually, if I was to set up a GoFundMe page to take your stuff, would you donate to it? Let me know. Kevin J. Johnston here, wishing you the best of vacations. Now, that's not going to make her very happy, but we're not here to make the CRA happy. I'm just wondering if each and every one of you out there could possibly give her a call and just let her know that we don't appreciate being phoned at home. We don't appreciate being lied to or threatened. We don't appreciate the fact that it is almost impossible to make money in Canada. And then the CRA calls and says, give it to us. Because reasons. Oh, and I'm quoting the Income Tax Act, which does not pertain to citizens anyway. That's a very big problem. So everyone, if all of us are making phone calls like the one I just did, all day, all night, to these individuals, they have to check all those voicemails. They've got to take the phone calls. And if they're busy checking voicemails and getting upset about it, they're not phoning us. They're not phoning we, the good people in the world. There we are. And Joseph Matt says, one thing, I love you always saying we have the right to remain silent. People should listen. Yeah. Upshut. Shut up. Just quiet. Stop talking to the CRA or anybody in government. There you go. Joe is asking if I'm live or is this a recording? I'm going to go with live. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate that. Ready. By the way, remember, guys, if anyone in doubt, if you ever doubt that I'm live, ask me to pick up the mouse on my desk and I'll show it to you. There we go. Now, before I move into all of your questions, I really need to tell everybody the most important thing going here. We have discovered more than 200 fake Kevin J. Johnston TikTok accounts. That's right. And one of my potential clients has been ripped off by one of these people. My TikTok channel is Real Kevin J. Johnston. My official Instagram channel is Kevin J. Johnston Forever. Not the word, not the number, forever. My official website is my name, kevinjjohnston.com. Because Zuckerberg is a bit of a fruit, he has taken down all of my Facebook pages. I do not have a single Facebook page as of the 22nd of July, 2025. I may have one again. I may not. I don't make money on Facebook, so maybe not. I do have an alternate account for TikTok, which is official Kevin J. Johnston, but I really haven't spent a lot of time on it. Could everybody follow it? Just go follow it. Get it to 1,000 followers so that what I can do is put that one on live as well. I'll get another phone and stick it here. Now, what's going on here is all of these scammers are talking to people by text and by DM. I do not do business out of my DMs. If I do message you in any of my direct messages on any social media platform, I will be directing you to either an email address specifically with my name in it or to my website and the contact page on it. I want everything to go through my website so that all of you know that you're not being ripped off by these criminals all over the world. If you cannot speak to me in person, in a chat room or on the phone, where you ask questions and I actually answer the relevant question in the same style in which I'm doing right now, then you're not talking to me. I do not close business deals in text. I do not close business deals in email only. I have a very big problem with people that don't make phone calls. If you're going to spend money with me, you will speak to me. There's also a few designated members of my team that I'll be introducing you to in the chat room, and they'll be speaking to you as well. You'll be speaking to human beings, not AI bots and not text. So please, everyone, do not under any circumstances DM or expect me to be doing business through DM. I don't do that. It's through the website. Use only my official social media and use my website to communicate with me. And please, for the love of God, if you are talking to me, it might still be a deep fake. Ask questions that are completely and totally relevant to the situation. If you need to, you can even ask me to dictate the date and the time it is right now. Ask security questions so that you know you're talking to Kevin J. Johnston, all right? Please, I beg you, everybody, don't fall for the nonsense. By the way, if anybody knows where TikTok's head office is, could you please message me that? Because I have to make a culmination list here of every single fake TikTok channel and have them taken down. KV Singh, that's a good question. Why do people call you a fraud? Because I'll tell you, well, there's a few reasons. Number one, I got a big mouth. I got a very big mouth. And as a result of me having a big mouth that constantly has facts spewing from it, and I'm usually smiling when I'm doing it because I enjoy what I do for a living, I am not liked by those who don't have the same level of intelligence that I do. Yes, I'll toot my own horn here. Maybe I won the genetic lottery. Who knows? But I am highly intelligent. My brain works incredibly fast. And as I've told you, the last time I lost a debate, I was like 21 years old. People cannot defeat me in the war of words, and they cannot defeat me on platforms like this when they decide they want to insult me or tell me that I'm wrong. I always win because I know what I'm talking about. But that's 40 years of dedication to my craft. That's what that is. I became a DJ when I was not quite 18 years of age. So I've always, in some way, shape, or form, been presenting publicly. I am an excellent presenter, and very few people are excellent presenters. Being able to speak to cameras, I'm looking at 5 cameras right now, being able to move around and keep the audience engaged it's a skill. Not everybody has it. So there's jealousy. And because Canada is a hyper left-wing country, and I am a not staunch conservative, I'm just a little bit right of center. I'm not a far right guy at all. I can't stand the far right. I'm a little right of center. I am a traditionalist. I am very much into the values that I had when I was growing up. And the modern left wing doesn't like that. And they've tried to control me with insults, calling me racist and Islamophobic and homophobic. They tried, didn't work. In fact, I fired back at them, calling them the exact same names. They tried with violence. That didn't work. You know, they made 7 legitimate attempts on my life in Canada. I got some of the scars and the knife wound to show for it on my hand here. Yeah, that didn't work. The Canadian government locked me up for 7 months of my life because I was telling the truth about how the country functions to break my spirit. That didn't work. And in fact, let me tell you how little effect that anything Canada has done to me has had. These are my prison slippers, guys. I'm wearing them. These things, see, I'm wearing out the bottoms here. I wear these as my slippers. These have been inside the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico. They've been to 12 countries with me. I wear my prison slippers with pride. You cannot break my spirit. And that is why they call me a fraud. They cannot figure me out. And it's really not that difficult to figure out. It's all about life philosophy. I recognize the fact that the human lifespan is devastatingly short in comparison to what it could and should be. And knowing that there are fewer years ahead than there are behind, like maybe 30 to 35 tops, I intend to live every single day to the fullest. And it bothers people on the left wing who live their lives angry all the time to see a happy guy in his 50s who's happy to be in his 50s and happy to be doing what he wants. That is why they call me a fraud. They don't like the fact that I win a lot. Not all the time, but I win a lot. Cheers. It's a good question, by the way. All righty. Now it's strictly your questions, everybody. Let's have a quick peek here at what's going on in the Rumble room. All right. Tax-Free Canada says, can you help a person that's been assessed as owing GST as a sole proprietor? Yes. So what we got to do for the person who's got the sole proprietorship with a GST number and a lot of GST debt is I have to go back over anywhere between 5 and 10 years of your personal taxes, and I got to redo them. I got to redo them all, and we got to add every single expense that the law will allow me to add. And we also have to look and see if some of the income that you made maybe isn't income. Just remember that because you have an invoice, let's say you write an invoice for 10 grand, just because the invoice exists does not mean you got paid, and does not mean that you collected the GST or the HST in Canada. So of course, those would be considered delinquent accounts, and I would get you that money back. Yes, that is absolutely what I do, and I love doing it. The only issue is, everybody, that I cannot start any new personal tax jobs until the second week of September. We're pretty swamped on personal taxes right now, but yes, it can be done. Okay. So Tax-Free Canada says, I submitted a form on your website. How long for a response? 1 to 3 days. Typically, it's 1 to 3 days. We'll get to it. All right. Presto76, Kevin, CRA froze all of our corporate accounts because of an assessment that was done, and they claim they tried numerous times to contact us with no response. Can you help? Okay, so for that one there, we have to object. We have to send in a Clause 7 notification that we are objecting to every single tax year, and we have to threaten them to unlock the accounts lest we file litigation. We can't bluff. You've got to file litigation if they don't do it within 15 days. And then we have to redo your corporate taxes for 10 years. Got no choice. We got to wipe out the tax debt by going back and, again, just like the personal tax, adding every expense that we possibly can that the law allows. Jared says, how long have you been a senior appeals officer, or how long have you been a recognized senior technical applications officer? And lastly, does she prefer Tower A? Okay, I don't think that's for me. My husband and I had a meeting with you on June 9th. Okay, so Dakudu, just got to jump into the contact form on the box there and put your names in there, because you're using an alias there, and I don't know who you are in the chat room. But please make sure that on my contact form that I know who you are. All righty. All right, so those are the questions there. Let me have a quick look at the YouTube page here. Hi, Kevin. This is my first stream. Saw you on Instagram. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, Frank. I appreciate that. Carnivorous Vegan. Interesting name. Please help. Your website contact form doesn't work. Yes, actually it does. Sometimes it doesn't work on some of the older Android phones. So we'll have to make a modification to it. But either way, I owe CRA $47,000 for my dad's debt. I'm not the executor, and the money bypassed the estate. I'm the beneficiary on his LIF. When someone dies, the last people that you tell are the CRA. Everyone's in a friggin' hurry to tell the CRA. I don't know why that is. What is it about death that makes everybody so crazy? You know, I told my kids, and I was serious. I said, listen, guys, the odds are pretty good that I'm going to have a whole bunch of residual income checks coming in. So when I die, pick up my corpse. It might take 3 people to do it, but pick up my corpse and throw it in a freezer and keep collecting my checks. Right? What's the point of declaring me dead? It doesn't matter. All right? Do your crying, you know, whatever it is. Eventually you'll get over it and you're still collecting the checks. Don't be stupid. All right? Just don't be stupid. So with the estate, as I'm trying to answer the question here, we will always do the person's taxes. We will then make sure that lifts, RIFs, RSPs, everything have been completely drained. But we also make sure that you, the executor or the inheritors, my mistake, do not get taxed on anything. Period. We don't want you being taxed. So please, when someone dies in your family, don't go on Facebook, don't go on social media, don't look for sympathy, keep it quiet, drain everything that they've got. I will go back and do their taxes for 10 years and get back everything I possibly can while keeping the estate open. And the second that we get that check for you, we can close the estate up at that point. There we are. Alrighty. Wayne says, am I reading YouTube comments? Yes. Wayne says also, I want to split ways with my business partner and leave Canada. I don't want to pay taxes on the money from my company. How do I leave my company with my split and avoid taxes? By keeping your mouth shut. Okay, everyone? If you've got a corporation and you want to walk away, if the corporation does not owe GST and does not owe payroll, take your money and walk away. It's not like you have to report the fact that you're shutting it down. Look, Canada, stop with grandiose behavior. You never need to be grandiose. I'm closing this corporation down and I'm going to tell everybody and I'm going to fill all the appropriate forms out. Why? Who cares? Close it down. Drain the dough. Close it down. That's it. You don't have to tell anybody anything about it. If it has GST, HST, or payroll debt, sell it to me. I'll take the debt off your hand. I'll tell you then, take all your money and go. You do not have to make grandiose exits. Don't make announcements. It's the same thing when you leave Canada on a permanent basis. Don't call the CRA, I'm leaving the country and I want to get my exit tax now. Why? Don't make announcements. Keep your private lives private. Just pick up, leave. And when it comes down to it, lie about where you are. It's nobody's business where you are. If you're in Moscow, you should be telling people that you're in Johannesburg. If you're in Johannesburg, you should be telling people you're in Buenos Aires. If you're here in Panama with me, you should be telling people that you are in Florida. It is no one's business where you are. Everyone out there's got to stop this self-centered selfie behavior. Everyone's got the cameras out taking pictures of themselves and sharing it with the world. Who gives a crap? Like, live your own lives. You know, I find it insane that we have these very few moments in life and everybody wants to share these moments with the entire planet, but the entire planet doesn't care. Why can't you just have a day to yourself and enjoy yourself? Put the memories in here. There you go. Take a couple of pictures for you and your family for the future, I suppose. But it's all the grandiose behavior that hurts you. Because the more you put on social media, the more someone is going to find a way to hurt you with that information. Unless you're a public figure and a big mouth like me who actually loves conflict, then don't do it. Everyone be quiet, and especially with estates. Someone dies. Shh. Canadian Bacon. I've been audited twice in the last, he's been audited twice in the last 3 months. That's not common, everyone. Auditors don't audit you and then come back a month later and then come back another month later. They'll audit you and then they'll disappear for 5 or 6 months and analyze the data, make up lies with the data. So your partner is probably lying to you. That doesn't make any sense at all. Okay, let's now head over to Instagram's questions here. Saw a few of those. B. Yuchin says, is it true that if you own and hold an investment property in a holdco, that you have to charge yourself personally fair market value as rent? Who in the hell told you that? I have never heard that in my life. Let me get this straight. Hold on. And I'm not mocking you. Someone told you that pretended to know what they're talking about. But if I've got your question right, you buy a property, you put it in a holding company, and it just sits there accruing value over time. And let's say you're not renting it to somebody. I think your question is, do you have to charge yourself at fair market value for the rent? No. What if you're not renting out the house? What if you have no intentions of ever renting it out? What if you just let your daughter or son or cousin or dog live there? Absolutely not. Why would you lie to the government saying, I'm charging rent, please tax me on it, when you're not charging rent? No, it's insane. If your house is in a holdco, that's your cue to quiet about your house. John says, living in the United States, still have an income property in Canada. I've done taxes for 3 years. Do you think the government will put a lien on the property? Well, if you've not done taxes for 3 years. Okay, so John, let me do your taxes for 3 years. No, they won't put a lien on the property right off the hop. They'll spend some time trying to reach you. What they would do, though, is put a writ against you, the individual person. They will do that. But anything that they put on your home can be countered with a motion in the courts. Steve Shin. Sorry, everyone. Steve Shin. Is leaving the country the best way to minimize capital gains on crypto? All right, guys. I say this every show. If you have crypto, shut the F up about it. Why would you tell the Canada Revenue Agency about crypto? They're too stupid to know what crypto is. And that's not even a joke. That's not even a euphemism. We are dealing with an institution that hired incredibly unintelligent individuals. They don't even know what their own policies are. They don't even read their own policies. Whenever I ask them about their policies, nobody I speak to at the CRA has even read them. What would make you think these people know anything about your crypto unless you tell them? And you know, it bothers me when everyone says, yeah, but they could check the records and then they could call me and ask me about it. What? So what if they phone you? Like, do all of you not understand that you can scream in the phone and say, don't ever effing call me again? Don't you don't answer questions about anything to do with your personal life. In fact, I've told so many lies to the CRA that they have no clue what to believe. The CRA thinks I have $7 billion. The CRA also thinks I have nothing. The CRA thinks I have a little bit of money. Some days they think I have a lot. It's none of their business what I have. And I'm allowed to lie to anybody if I'm not under oath in court. Lie. Tell them to get lost. Tell them to shut up. My God, people, no. If you got crypto, don't even tell your friends about it. That is your little secret. Please keep it that way. Do I want a new puppy? I do not want a puppy. No, sir. No, no, no. I am not at a point in life where I could take care of a dog. I'm still doing 14 to 16-hour days of work. I mean, the only quiet time I get is I take a 5-kilometer walk over to my gym. I work out, usually for about an hour, and then I walk back. But during that time, the whole 1 hour walk is me on the phone talking to clients. Then I'm in the gym working out, talking to clients. Then I'm walking back, talking to clients. Then I jump back in front of this machine for a couple of hours at night, talking to clients. No, I'm sorry. Congratulations, though, on the dog having dogs. But no, I cannot do a dog. I'm one of those guys that'll do a dog. I'll get a dog. I will do the dog thing when I'm probably late 60s and I've had enough of society and I buy like some 2,000 acre plot of land and just fade away and disappear. Then it's going to be me, my ATV, and the dog. That would be cool. At that point, let me know if you got puppies and we'll take one off your hands. What's your opinion on the destabilization of the Canadian dollar? Is it safe to hold Canadian dollars? I moved my Canadian money into property in Panama and El Salvador as quickly as I possibly can, or into crypto as quickly as I possibly can. I have zero faith in the Canadian dollar to last in this ridiculously childish trade war with Donald Trump. It is stupid. Mark Carney has gone to war with Donald Trump for no reason other than, fill in whatever the answer is, because we really don't know. What is in this guy's head that would make him think battling Donald Trump is a good idea? What's Canada going to do to the United States, aside from maybe get them wet with tears? Come on. My God. No, I have no faith in the Canadian dollar. My accounts were garnished $95,000 after the CRA auto-assessed me for not filing returns. It's been more than 2 years, so past the limit to sue the bank. How do you get the money back? I redo your taxes for 10 years. That's it. I go back 10 years and I redo them with the proper numbers and get you all that money back. That's how we do this. All right, let's look at the TikTok chats here. For everybody who says you can't reach me on my website, use the website. Someone is going to get to you. If you're going to DM me on social media, the only communication that you're ever going to get is either me or one of my team pasting a standard response. Please use the contact form on my website. You have to use the website. That's just how it is. Okay, so NetCop says, I have an HST trust examination coming up. How can I avoid them? Oh, I live for those. Oh, man. All right. You have to retain me as your legal agent. I'm going to be sending you over the appropriate paperwork to fill out. We have to ship that into the CRA. You have to get me the auditor's name and phone number, and I'm going to call the auditor. We're going to send in faxes to every fax machine that they have, banning the auditor and the entire auditing department from your office or home or church, gym, all the above, and let them know, too bad, so sad, you're not coming. That's how that works. We want to make sure that they know that they cannot come. And if they show up, you have to have a no trespassing sign on your property, naming the individual auditor along with the CRA itself. And if they decide to even knock on your door, call 911. That's how we get rid of the auditor. Do not cooperate with auditors. They're not cops. They have no authority in Canada to do anything. You can tell cops to get off your property. Unless they've got a warrant for your arrest, you can tell them to get lost. And if you can tell an armed cop to get off your land, what would make you think that you can't tell some loser for the CRA, working for the CRA, to get lost? I know you guys won't see it on TikTok and Instagram, but look at this idiot. Look at this moron, Veronica Marcus. Everyone write this phone number down, please. This is an auditor who was told by me, do not go to my client's house. And she went anyway. And look at the expression on her face. What a tool. Ugh. Why is she wearing so much makeup? 613-791-6387. She is so upset with me and my antics that she refuses, as the auditor of a corporation that I purchased, to speak to me. Isn't that hilarious? All you got to do to get rid of people that work for the government is be really, really, really rude to them. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've also cracked a whole bunch of really awesome racist statements to a few people. And what do? They get upset and they drop the audit. That is how sensitive everybody is in Canada now. I had this accountant who sent me a bill for what, $30-something thousand. Did you guys see the letter I sent him like 7-8 months ago? It was a corporation I bought, and it was the accountant's fault that the corporation was in debt. And I called him a beta cuck and whatnot, and I told him if he continued to ask me for money, I'd sleep with his wife right in front of him. And what did he do? Nothing. He didn't try to collect the debt. Nothing. He did nothing. I tell people this all the time. Stop bothering me, or I'll sleep with your mom. Just whatever I want. Whatever I tell people, it's designed to upset them. We want to find out who the real individuals are and who the jokers are. And nobody's been real enough to come at me with anything. Insults. Isn't it pathetic? We really, as a society, have crumbled, because back in the 70s, someone would have got their back up for that and pursued me full-fledged forever. Not anymore. Snoop Jaggy Jag says, banks send T5s to the CRA, so the CRA already knows what your capital gains are. So when you say don't report the gains and the CRA won't ever know, won't they find out via the information the bank sent? You would then I would type up the report for you, and on your tax return, I would not put down the capital gain, because the bank is not putting down capital gain. They're just putting down the number that happens to be in the account at the time. You see, if you have a bank account, or let's say you've got, I don't know, a stock account or something in Canada, and you make money on it, you make a profit. What if your house went down in value the same year? Well, now that's a capital loss. What if you got ripped off? What if someone stole your crypto? That's a capital loss. What if you bought $150,000 worth of computer monitors and they all fell off the wall because the wall collapsed and they all shattered? That's a capital loss. There's a lot of things that would be a capital loss. So just because the bank says you made $1,000 doesn't mean I'm not going to find a way to wipe that out. Capital losses could be anything. This $1 glass, by the power investing, by the power of Grayskull, whatever it is, this is now worth $150,000, just like that. So if this thing falls, I would put it down at a $150,000 capital loss, right? Because I've got magic fingers here. Woo! Its value just went up. See how stupid everything is? Everything's just something somebody made up. You know that, right? I was thinking about dropping the glass, but the last time I did that, I stepped on glass for 3 days. So we're not going to crack that joke today, but you get the point. All right. For anybody that wants to get a hold of me again, use the website, please. Please, please, please. If you live in the Toronto area, there are shops you can exchange crypto for cold hard cash. Yes, but the fees are high. But yes, you are correct. If being audited, why can't I just send them false numbers? Why? Because all you're doing now is setting up yourself for failure, because they'll just assess you. But what you do is, if they send out what's called a desk audit, where the CRA doesn't actually even want to send the auditor out because they're lazy, they want you to fill out your paperwork for them, then you just put a big black X over the page and mail it in. All right? You don't have to cooperate with anything. Like I said, you all have the right to remain silent. So don't do it. Thank you for telling me about the CRA, because I gained 10 grand from XRP. Yeah, everybody's up on XRP this week. So, shut up. Like, what happens if XRP goes back down? It's a capital loss. So again, who cares? Shh, it's yours. All right. Just having a look at your questions here, everybody. What is your opinion when the CRA sends you assessments saying you owe HST for selling a newly built house? Oh my God. Okay. We've been through this one before. Oh my God. First off, never buy a house in your name. Just stop that practice. It is stupid to have anything in your name. A house should be in a holding company. Now, as for this GST, HST thing, I can counter that one. It's a lot of work, but I can counter it. What's my opinion is that you only pay HST if it's a brand new build. I found a loophole on that. And not only is it a loophole, but it actually ended up that the law says you don't have to pay that. However, that is going to be a secret you got to pay for. I'm not giving that one away for free. I had to read a very, very long time on that. But anyway, yeah, I can get rid of your taxes on new builds. Believe me, everybody, I'm going to change how everything is done tax-wise in Canada. Don't think for an instant that I don't have a plan to become the #1 tax guy in the country. Everybody who works for the CRA is well aware of who I am. Every police department in Canada is well aware of who I am. And everybody who works for government in Canada is well aware of who I am. I know the Royal Canadian Mounted Police are watching this show, seething. Like, we can't bust this guy. He's funny and handsome, and he never says anything illegal. What do we do? I don't know. Go find a real job. That's what you do, losers. All right. As a trucker, would the CRA freeze my accounts? Well, if you don't do your taxes for a couple of years, yeah, they will. But remember, it's not the CRA that freezes bank accounts. The CRA sends letters to your bank, and your bank is the one that freezes the accounts. You can't even sue the CRA on that. You got to sue your bank. The CRA is asking for moving expense proof. Now they say I owe $6,000. What do? You object to that. You send in a non-compliance letter, Section 232 of the Income Tax Act. If they do not have an active investigation on you, they can't even ask you those questions. And then we redo 10 years of your taxes, and that solves that problem. What is my official website? Oh, yeah, there's a lot of scammers out there, guys. A lot. My name, Kevin, J, middle initials J, last name, JOHNSTON.com. You know, it's amazing. The scammers out there can't even spell my name. They spell my name KIIVEEN, things like that, and you're falling for it. My official website is just myname.com. Now, the kevinjjohnston.biz, that's also me. kevinjjohnston.biz is where you go if you want to sell me your corporation. You need to fill out the form, your name, corporate name, and all of your corporate debt. kevinjjohnston.ca goes to one specific page on my website, and kevinjjohnston.me is my old website, which we are going to be taking down next week. All right, so those are the 4 domain names that are official for myself. Everything else is junk, and stay away from it. Okay. Allsun35 on YouTube says, are we able to make up a person for the director? Oh, God, yes. You should never be the director. No. The director of your corporation needs to be fictional. Make it common. John Smith, Jake Jones, Jones Paulson, Mike Michelson. Pick names like that, like Muhammad Khan. Anything that is common. You should not be the director of a corporation. The shareholders own the company. The director is just a sucker that the CRA will chase for funds at some point in the future. So yes, fictional names. Can you make the company stop deducting income tax from your checks? Well, if the owner of your business has any balls and you present that you want to be on contract and they say, okay, then yes, you'll no longer pay tax on your checks. But it's up to the employer. And most employers are cowards. All of them are cowards. And Eve says, you've been criticized by ignorance. Oh, yeah. I'm always criticized in a major way by everybody who either does not know something or knows nothing for that matter and have low intelligence quotients. Why do you think Antifa was always on my case back in Canada? Why do you think Canadian politicians were always on my case? Low intelligence quotient, really poor presentation skills, and I'm just better than they are at everything I do. There you are. And you know what? I don't care. Let them be ignorant. It does not matter. Tips on CEBA loans. Yes, there are a series of 5 letters that I put out to the CRA threatening them. We make a demand for them to prove you have a CEBA debt, which they never do. And eventually it all goes away. I'm just checking your questions here, folks. So Mario from TikTok responded to my post. Good. Okay. So that Mario guy, tell him I said hi. Tell him I'll reach out. Hopefully he reaches out back. That'd be cool. Anybody who wants to talk about how to defeat the Canadian government, I'm all over it. Alrighty, let's have a quick peek at the Rumble room now. Oh my God, Rumble lit up tonight. Isn't that a civil offense to put down a fictional director for a corporation? No, it's not. No, first off, an offense is not civil. An offense is criminal. It is not a criminal offense to put down a fictional name on the director's form, because if you do not want to be directly tied to the CRA on your corporation, you don't have to be. It's your company. You do whatever you want. Whatever you want. If it's a privately held corporation, your own company, anybody can be the director. Anybody can be fired or hired. Anybody can be anything. So don't think for a second that there's some rules you've got to follow. There are none. Go do business, make money. Okay. All right, so Midnight Misty. Go to my website right now, use the contact form, put Midnight Misty in the subject line. I'm going to address you right after the show. Okay. How does anybody go about getting your corporate accounts unfrozen? We have to object to everything that the CRA has done. We have to threaten them with the appropriate legal action, get the account unlocked, drain the bank account when that happens, and I redo your corporate taxes. But in most cases, everybody, it's actually cheaper for you to just sell me your corporation and start over. You know, doing corporate taxes is great because we do make money on it, but they take a long time to do. And it takes about 10 months to get your money back from the CRA. Sell me the company, walk away from your debt, and we start you over in a brand new numbered corporation. Do you work in Alberta? No, I do a lot in Alberta, everybody. I do a lot there. I own a lot of stuff there. There we go. Speed Up's wondering if I'm live right now. Raise the mouse. This really funky blue camouflage mouse that cost me $10 in Calgary. I think it was. Yeah, whatever it is. I've had it for a while. $10. See, guys, I don't splurge. I don't waste a lot of money. $2 for a rubber pointer that I can tap all my phones with. There you go. But we said earlier, this glass is worth 150 grand because I made this motion with my fingers. Yeah, for those out there who wonder how much money I make, it's a lot. But for me, it's all investment. You know, a lot of you out there seem to think that I live some kind of lavish lifestyle. I really don't. My day starts anywhere between 4 and 6 a.m. And it's a staff meeting. My staff are up early with me. We go through all the notes, get the task list ready to go. I'm doing consultations. We're writing up legal documents. We're getting taxes done. It's all day. I leave. I walk to the gym. I work out. I walk back, and I'm back on the horn with clients. I mean, I worked it out. I've taken 28 days off in the full year and a half I've been in Panama. It's like 7 or 8 beach visits. It's not much. Been to the casino 3 times. I've been to 4 movies since I got here. It's a couple of nightclubs, but that's about it. And when I go to the nightclubs for an hour, and I realize, shit, I got phone calls to make, so I'm out of here. When you're making money, you don't have time to be out there just blowing it on absolutely everything. And I have no interest in that. I am building a legacy here. So there you go. $10 mouse. I'm live. If any time you doubt that I'm live, ask me to raise the mouse. I'll prove it to you. Okay, let's have a look here. Some more of your comments. The only time that you're responsible for corporate debt is if you become the personal guarantor of debts. Then they will chase you for it personally, or if you are the director, which you should never be, and there is HST and or GST debt, then they will vigorously chase you for it because they consider that a trust account. But there's ways around that too. Okay, for anyone out there who cannot find my website, my God, I'm going to say it again. It's just my name. My name is Anglo-Saxon. It's real easy to spell. Kevin. Kevin. Middle initial, J. Last name, Johnston, JOHNSTON.com. There you go. It's not Johnson. It's not John Stone. It's Johnston. There you are. Everyone forgets that friggin' T, and probably you're not paying attention to the fact that there is a J before the J in Johnston. It's there. The website works. We worked on it this morning. I know it's there. For everybody who, there's a good one. Sober Coach. For anybody who is in the province of Quebec, you should not be doing business out of the province of Quebec. What I mean by that is do business in Quebec, but don't do it out of a Quebec corporation. We have a mailing company now. So what you do is you shoot over to Cornwall, Ontario, or Ottawa, get yourself an Ontario driver's license, become an Ontario resident. So now you don't have to pay any personal tax to Revenue Quebec. Revenue Quebec is just like the IRS, but worse. And they speak French terribly, I might add. Then we get you a numbered corporation based in Ontario, do all your invoicing out of Ontario. That's it. And Revenue Quebec, or whatever they call themselves, has no option but to leave you alone. If you live in Quebec, you should be an Ontario resident officially. If you do business in Quebec, you should be doing it out of an Ontario corporation. Quebec is insane. They're on civic law, not common law like the rest of the country, which is why they've got their own revenue collection and why they do whatever they want in law. That's how we do it. It's $700 to use my place, which is a house, I might add, per year to actually live in my house and escape Revenue Quebec. The Grenouille, I can't stand those guys. Okay, so apparently Mario North says if people listen to me, it's jail time. Oh yeah? Didn't I cover this before? Let's cover this again. I'm going to tell the story quickly. The CRA was proud of themselves. They got their 52nd conviction for income tax evasion in 5 years. 5 years for 52 people out of a country of 41 million. On top of that, it was 200 million tax returns that they would have had to siphon through to get those charges. The CRA did not lay any of the charges, I might add, against any of these people. I read all the cases, I might add. And to summarize further for you, it was all somebody else who filed complaints to the cops, and the cops did all the charging because they were not in any way related to the CRA. The CRA gave the cops some evidence saying, here's the guy's tax returns. but the tax returns didn't get them the convictions. And on top of all of that, not one of them went to trial. They were all plea bargains, all of them. Excuse me. Oh, wow. They were all plea bargains. What does that mean? It just means that in Canada, it's too expensive to hire a lawyer and go to court to defend yourself. There's no justice in Canada because nobody can afford anything in Canada. So they all took plea bargains. The CRA has not got anyone convicted for income tax evasion in Canada in 5 years. Right? There you go. So if Mario did indeed say that, take my advice, it's jail time, Mario is incorrect. He did not do his research. This is what I do for a living. In order for me to beat the CRA, I have to look at everything that they do, which obviously I do. And because the CRA is too afraid to speak to me, they don't audit me and they don't audit my clients. Jail my ass. Come on, guys, think about that. All right. My question is, do you have the ShakePay app? Everybody in Canada has the ShakePay app. The answer is yes, I do, but I don't use it anymore. I'm having more fun with Malaysian and American crypto companies. Do you have to own a business or a corporation? Oh, for what? Could you tell me for what implication? Hello, Hal. Thanks for being here. Gorgeous as always. I need 3 years of taxes done and RRSP usage. Where do I start? I use my RRSP on my new home. Okay, everyone. If you're going to cash out RRSPs, I can get all the tax money back on the RRSP or the GIC or the LIF or RIF or whatever else. But you got to let me know a couple of months in advance of having done so, and I can take care of it. It's a long process. It's a pain in the ass. It's a long process, and it's a very boring thing to explain here. But the answer is yes, I can get that all back. What is the process to remove a lien or writ from the CRA? File an objection, get them into court, threaten them with a lawsuit, redo your taxes, go to the provincial court in which the writ is in with your objection notices from the CRA and the invocation of Clause 7, and done. You win. Because the CRA won't show up to defend your motion. They never do. Cowards never show up. Is there any way to retrieve unpaid contracting fees by delinquent clients by filing a loss in the income tax? Of course, you can always file a loss in the income tax. Who's to say that you didn't lose money all year? Absolutely. I mean, you should be trying to get paid, put liens on, if you're in the construction field, you should put liens on everything they got. Cars, boats, trucks, houses. Don't forget to perfect the lien, though. That means sue them within 2 years. Get that done. All right. So for everybody out there that is wondering who reports what, if you're going to take $250,000 out of the bank, they probably won't let you take it in cash. You'll have to get it in some kind of a check. So what you can do is ask for your money to be converted to US inside your branch, have it written to an American account that you have, and go put the money in the States. No, it's cheap to go to the United States. I mean, imagine flying from, let's say, Calgary to Madison, Wisconsin. It's cheap. Go open a bank account, put your money there. It's going to be safer there than Canada. Absolutely. How do I make a new corporation fast? I get it done within a day. My team registers it, gets it done. We get your GST number. You're all good to go. Brent says, I had a limited company, paid $300,000 in taxes yearly. Any way to recoup? Yes, but that would be a big job. Brent, put the word Brent in the subject line. Go to my website right now. Give me all the details on your corporation, please. That might be a file that we could take on pretty quick. All right. So if everybody wants to protect assets, good question. That's from Vera Vault. Never have a house in your name. Never have a car in your name. Do not have personal bank accounts. Everything needs to be in holding companies. Everything needs to be in holding companies. I know a lot of you out there hear the term family trust, family trust, family trust. Those are really expensive. They're about $40K to set up. You don't need them. You have yourself a corporation. You are 100% shareholder of the corporation. Your house is in that corporation. Nobody can touch it. Your cars, plural, put them into a numbered corporation. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because You've got all this Big Brother stuff all over Canada right now. Highway 407 in Ontario is the most expensive toll road in the world. It's crazy. Like, you drive 10 kilometers, you get a bill for $30. What if you had a car in a corporation and the license plate is in a different corporation? You just keep driving and never pay the bill, and then get rid of the plates, register new plates in a different corporation. Cheaper to do that than pay toll. Right? And everybody out there's mad all the time. You know, I got a bunch of letters from the Ontario Provincial Police saying that I was caught speeding on a road and someone reported me. And I would have to call them and say, guys, the date that you say this happened, my car was in the shop in a different city. What is this? So it's just someone that didn't like me that knew what car I drove and filed a false report with the cops. So if you have a car that's in a corporation, the cops are going to send stuff to a corporation. But if it's a corporate vehicle, who was driving it? All right. That's the big thing. You know, the cops will investigate. If someone says, oh, a motorcycle was speeding on my favorite street in butt hell, whatever, the cops will actually spend a year investigating it. And then they're going to call the owner of the corporation and say, oh, we got a complaint June 3rd of 2 years ago that you were speeding on this motorcycle. You say, well, that's a company motorcycle and it's used for promotions. We have people driving all the time. How the hell would I know who was driving that thing 2 years ago? Get the freaking hell off my property. The cops will waste their time with stuff like this. It's actually pathetic that this is what our tax dollars go into, but they do. So protect everything in numbered corporations, everything. Do you have to have a business corporation in order to reclaim dollars that have been taxed? I need a bit more context, if you don't mind. If you open up a brand new corporation in Canada and you don't do the first corporate tax return and you don't do your first GST return, then they're never going to know that you're making money. Make money and keep it. Good for you. That way you don't have to do taxes, because you don't. Section 150 of the Income Tax Act does not say you have to do a tax return. It says you shall do one. And in civic law, the word shall is merely a suggestion. So they shall blow me. All right? I'm not doing it. If I don't feel like doing it, I'm not doing it. If I'm not getting paid for my time, I promise you, I'm not doing anything, period. And you have the right to say, no, I'm not doing this thing that you want me to, because you're not compensating me for it. How is it that the CRA can sit there and tell you that you must do something when the law that they're relying on, it's not even a law, it's an act, when the clause that they're relying on says that you shall do something, not must? That's all they've got. You shall do a tax return? No, I shall not, because shall is not must. Shall means must in criminal law. So the CRA says you got to do it because the law, but there's no law that says you got to do it. So think about this. They have nothing. They're not coming at you with anything substantial. Stop snitching on yourselves and understand your rights. So do it that way, Shannon, please. I have received my notice of assessment, but haven't received my refund. What should I do? The CRA, they're hanging on to everybody's money right now. So it used to be 2-3 weeks you get your money back. Now it's 10-12 months. They're holding on to it to earn as much interest as they can. They love stealing money, but they don't like giving it away. There's nothing to do. I can't speed that up at all. It's pathetic what they're doing. Just checking more of your questions here. Can you get a superannuation to stop submitting income tax on your behalf? Yeah, but you have to get a court order for that. Or, work for yourself and don't report tax. I mean, again, Section 150, you don't have to do anything. I don't know, are you talking about a T4 job? If the boss wants to give you a T4, he's a coward, but it's his company and he's allowed to be a coward. T4s are deadly and dangerous. I can't stand them. Don't you need an address in the United States if you're going to open an account down there? Yes. So you would go to Wyoming, which you don't even have to go. Just make a phone call to any of the law firms down there and say, hey, I'd like to use your law firm's address as my home address in the United States. The Americans are all about making money. Law firms all over the United States do this. It's free to register a corporation in Texas. You just have to have a Texas address. Conveniently, there's thousands of law firms that for $300 a year will let you use their address. Take advantage of these things. Okay, yes. Jay has a good point here. Get yourselves a private ledger. Yeah, bookkeeping and accounting are not the same thing, everyone. Bookkeeping is you. You want to know how much money you make, and you want to know how much money you spend to make that money. But you don't share your bookkeeping, your own private books and records with anyone. I keep everything in a dollar store book. Can't hack my stuff. Right? None of my financial records are online. None of my financial records are on any of my devices. None. My financial records are written down. In fact, see how little money I spend, guys? This pen is kind of broken. It still works, but it's kind of broken. It was free from the Westin Hotel, and I use this pen and a dollar store book to write down all of my ledgers. Everything is handwritten, absolutely everything. And I'm not sharing that with anyone. No court order would ever get me to part with that book. Why would I? I just say, you're not getting it. Give me 10 days in jail. No, you're not getting my stuff. So bookkeep, but don't account. Accounting is the act of taking your bookkeeping and snitching on yourself to the CRA. Keep your own private ledgers private, everybody. All right, let me head over to some people here want a video question here. So Mike 2003. Mike, you've got about a minute and a half to ask your question here. I'm going to bring you in right now. Go ahead and accept, please. May not hear you too well, though. All righty. And let's continue down the line here with your questions. Dave is asking, can you get retirement funds to stop submitting income tax on your behalf? Probably not. But if you're of retirement age, you probably have high medical expenses, maybe 20 grand a year. You probably have some part-time income expenses on a form T2125. If it's me, I'm going to find everything that I can legally write off and completely wipe out that tax bill. So you'll get it all back in the following year. Okay, so Mike didn't answer. Let's try Paulo. Okay, Paulo, come on in for a minute there and let's hear what your question is. I don't know how to do it on Rumble, guys. Sorry. All right. Tax-Free Canada says, I'm trying to wrap my head around how the Income Tax Act is not law when it was legislated. Can you break it down for me, please? Okay, so what we have here is the Income Tax Act is a series of legislated, ready for this, rules. It's legislated rules for the Canada Revenue Agency to interact with the public. It's rules. It's not law. The CRA is going to rely on the legislated rules to try to intimidate you into giving your money to them. But you are within your rights to ignore everything in the Income Tax Act, legislated or not. It's not a law. You got to remember this. It has to say punishment before it's a law. The Criminal Code of Canada is quite clear. Assault. It'll tell you how it's defined, and it will tell you what the punishment is. The punishment will be maybe a year, up to a year imprisoned if it's summary, like a provincial offense, and maybe up to 5 if it's federal. It'll always tell you that there's a punishment. But the Income Tax Act doesn't have punishment. It just has, ready for this, rules. And do you and I work for the CRA? The answer is a resounding no. No, we do not. And I'm not following their rules. I've never once in this lifetime signed a contract willingly with the CRA or even knowingly with the CRA to state that, hi guys, I want to make money and I want to give some of it to you for nothing, for no reason whatsoever. If that kind of a contract was presented to me, I would decline to sign it. I would decline. I think all of you would as well. So the Income Tax Act are rules for the CRA to follow. We don't have to follow them. All right, just checking for more questions here, everybody. Just checking Instagram. Is it as simple as selling my assets to my company? Okay, I get what the question is. All right, so if you register a numbered corporation for the purposes of being a holding company, you don't have to sell your assets to the company. You just list all the assets that you're moving into the ownership of the company, write them down on a piece of paper, get a notary public, and swear it in. Now it's legitimately owned by that company. That's all. You know, notary publics are between 25 and $100. Most of them are like 30, $40. You know? So swear it in and you're golden. Ibreen says, what if I have a company, but it's dormant with no revenue coming? Is the annual tax return needed to be done for the corp? Well, yeah, you can do what's called a null tax return. So you put at the top the corporation's business number. At the bottom, you put the word NULL and sign it, accompanied with a letter saying this company has been designated a holding company. It does not conduct commerce. Send it in, and that's it. That's the end of it. They're off your case. All right, so D9 says, CRA also uses the word if. I do not know a legitimate legal definition of the word if. I don't have my Black's Law Dictionary on my desk right now, so I can't go to if and read it for you. Could you, D9, I know you do a lot of research, head over to Black's Law Dictionary website and look up the word if and tell me what it says there in the chats. D9, Delta 9 says T4s are recognized as a receipt of employee charitable contributions according to the CRA. Yes, they are. It's also what the employer wishes to write off. But that's the thing with you employers out there. All of you that get everybody stuck on T4s because you're afraid of the CRA, do you have any idea how much money you're wasting? It is hundreds of thousands of dollars a year if you've got more than 20 employees. You're wasting money, throwing it away. That's why we have a payroll business. I mean, we opened it up this year to accommodate everybody who wants to save money on payroll. Let me do your payroll. You'll save thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands. All right. I purchased trucks in 2018, filed for income tax credit. It was rejected of the income tax claim, and the CRA conducted an audit on my corporation for my claim. I was denied, and now the CRA says I owe them $120,000 in HST. That's why you don't cooperate with auditors. They just lie and say, you owe us money. And we can prove it. We were there. They don't prove it. They just say that them being there is proof of it. So I would have to redo your taxes, or you got to sell me that corporation and I can take the HST debt away. That's how it works. You know what, guys? The big problem is everybody out there is trying to be as honest as possible. But what if you've got a big truck and that big truck has your logo all the way down the side of the trailer and on the cab? Don't write it off as an income tax credit claim. Write it off as a marketing expense instead. Now it's a mobile billboard. That's how you do it. And here's the cool part. Not only do you get to write off the full value of the truck, but also the value of the graphics, the graphic designer, and you can designate the value of that billboard to be lower or higher as you wish. So stop being honest. Just do it the right way. Cheech says, just break into your own car and report it all. Well, I don't recommend breaking into your own car. There's cameras everywhere. Don't break into your own car and claim that stuff got stolen. You know, if you're dealing with the CRA, just tell them I don't feel like cooperating. Don't call me again. Don't cooperate. You don't have to pull stunts like that. Remember this, folks. If we work within the bounds of the law, we're going to be fine. But I don't recommend in any way, shape, or form breaking the law like that. Mitch says, if you have payroll and issued a T4 to your staff, what happens to them if you buy my company to avoid payroll tax? Nothing happens to them because the CRA, if you sell me your corporation, if you filed all your staff's T4s with the CRA, that's all the CRA needs. So your staff, their CPP and their EI is based entirely and solely on what you report, not what you pay. That's the truth. So sell me your company, walk away from your debt. And to the girl that gave me 5 green hearts, awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Marx says, so you're saying I never have to pay income tax or capital gains ever again and nothing will happen just because it's not the law? Has there ever been anyone fined or punished for not paying taxes? I just told you guys earlier in the show, they've got 52 convictions in 5 years, and none of them went to trial. They were all plea bargains. So no. D9 Delta 9 says, definition of if. In deeds and wills, this word as a rule implies a condition precedent unless it's to be controlled by other words. All right, so standard language there. Octavian says, I haven't filed taxes in 5 years, personal or sole proprietorship. Moved off grid about a year ago. Can these clowns come after me for not filing? Well, they might. At that point, file 0. If you haven't made money in 5 years, just put 0 on your tax return. That's it. There's nothing they can do about it. If you didn't make money, you didn't make money. Put down 0. Okay. Oh, boy. So Insta Custom Canada says you can't book a meeting. You know what? We probably sold out on consultations. Damn. Okay. I got to look at my schedule because I can probably open up some more consultation spots. We'll have a look at that tomorrow morning. I have staff meetings every morning early, so we'll get that figured out. So Speed Up 2 asks a good question here. Should I throw out all my envelopes? No. If you get letters from the CRA, you got to address them. You really do have to address letters. If they say, we want something from you, you have to reply saying you can't have it because you can't prove that there's a debt that exists. Omni Being says, can you share what the process is for buying a company with debt? Absolutely, I can. So the way that it works is you go to kevinjjohnston.biz, B-I-Z. Fill out the form. Tell me what your company has in the way of debt, in the way of assets. What I do is I buy your corporation from you for $1. I get everything. I get all your assets. I get all your debt. Then in an asset sale, you're going to buy back your assets from me for 10% of the value of your entire debt. So if you owe $100,000 in debt to the CRA, you pay me $10K, all your assets get returned to you the same day, and you're at 0 debt. 0. You owe $1 million, it's $100,000, and you don't have to pay the $900K. The CRA can chase me for your $900K because it's my $1 million debt at that point, not yours. And the CRA, they don't chase me. Well, because they know what I'm going to do. They think I'm crazy. Am I crazy or super sane? Pick one. I don't care what they say. My sole proprietorship GST expenses are being disallowed and I'm being hugely charged. Okay, so Newt stuff, then we have to go back and redo all your taxes with different numbers. One thing here is you probably did not submit affidavits along with what you were doing. And that matters. The affidavits matter. Because when they see that you've sworn everything into the courts, now it's under penalty of perjury. That makes all the difference in the world. And that is what I do for everybody. CGM says he wants to book a spot and there's none left. I'm going to open some slots up. So if you have a look at the website come Thursday or Friday, we'll get a few more slots for sale there for you. What part of Canada am I in? Well, I'm still considered an Albertan. I'm currently in Panama City, Panama. This town is absolutely remarkable. This country will be G20 in 10 years. The property values here are going up. The medical system is in the top 20, whereas Canada is number 68. The education system here is getting considerably better. The Panama Canal is at full capacity. There's money coming in every single day. The government is expanding every bit of infrastructure in the country. The airport here is better than Pearson. The subway system here is better than Toronto. It's 35 cents a ride. My living expenses are $7,000 a year here. Oh, yeah. I got restaurants in town here with high quality food for between $2 and $4 for dinner. 50-cent coffee to wash it down. Come on. Why the hell would I want to be in Canada right now? $7,000 a year. That's all I pay to eat and live and everything else. It's remarkable. Uber rides are like $4. I've had a few Uber rides that are less than $2. Could you imagine? I don't even know how they make money. $1.97. I got an Uber ride. Is a 3-kilometer ride in the pissing rain is $1.97. Panama is remarkable, man. I love this country. How do we say no in French? I'm trying to remember grade 7 French classes. I think it's no, if I got it right. Tell me if I got that one right. I know that there's some French Canadians in the room watching. So tell me, do I have it right, eh? All right. Bookham Dano. Let me just get this here. All right. So Bookham Dano, you're asking, obviously you're not on Telegram trying to persuade people to trade. I am on Telegram. I don't know how to use it. I really don't. I think I've got 500 followers on Telegram, maybe. It's just my name, Kevin J. Johnston. No, I'm not telling anybody on Telegram to trade. I am not trying to sell crypto to anyone. I have no crypto selling campaigns in my name that are official anywhere on the web. I'm not trying to sell people crypto. I'm trying to get you to pay me in crypto. That's why we give 10% discounts on XRP and Bitcoin, because I would rather have crypto than anything else. But no, my name is not officially attached to any crypto sales out there. And I barely use Telegram. If anyone knows how to use Telegram, let me know. I think it sucks, actually. Sue says, I owe money to the CRA because I had to use my RRSPs. Do I have to pay them taxes because of that? What we do with that, everybody, is I have to wipe out your RRSP tax debt in the following tax year, which I'm very good at doing. Very good. Is an American LLC, a limited liability company, better than a Canadian holding company? Well, yes. If you're a Canadian citizen, it's better to have as many assets as you can in an American LLC. Plus, if you invest properly in the United States, you can get yourself an E2 visa and stick around. Like it's a good thing. Is it best to have both? Yes, it's always best to have both. And if you're going to do stock trading, do it in a corporation, not your personal name. And that way you can simply not report, as I said earlier in the show. Okay, so Realtor, what's your name? Realtor Nervathika? It's telling me I'm supposed to bring you into the chat room for some reason. So if that's the case, let me know if you want to come in and ask your question. What's the benefit for you buying my corp with HST debt? It's been operational since December 2016 because I get paid a fee to do it. And then I will turn around and sell that corporation to another corporation that's looking for a capital loss or debt reconstruction or whatever they want to do. I am a debt broker. I invented this process. That is what I say, debt broker. That's the term I give it because I invented this. It took 40 years to figure it out. I figured it out. All right, so RSPs, we've covered that one a couple times. How old am I? 53. Oh, why does that matter? 53. Be 54 soon. So get me a cake. Chocolate. Sue's asking how I wipe out RRSP debt. It would take a while to explain it. It's very boring, but it's very effective. I get rid of it all. But it has to be in the following tax year. I can't get your RSP money back in the same year that you cashed it out. Funchu says, I have 10 trucks. They all have bank loans. Are you able to buy your corporation? Yes, Funchu. Go to Kevin J. Johnston, my name, .biz, and fill out the form for your corporate sale, please. Ami Bean says, if you don't report, you advise to take money out of the bank account in a tax-free country bank account. Sorry, could you rephrase that question, please? I'm not quite following it. Thank you so much. All righty. Let me check the Rumble room here, as we are down to our last 10 minutes. Okay. Isn't there imprisonment or punishment for tax evasion? So tax-free Canada, I explained earlier in the show what that's all about. And Toretto 1007 says, well, something's in the United States. The IRS is in the United States, so they have no influence over Canada. Political Dove says, I have a rental property in a holding co that I've been filing taxes in since 2022. How do I get out of filing taxes? Can I transfer it to a new numbered corporation? Absolutely. That's precisely what you need to do. Absolutely. Mitch Forrest says, do you pay a referral fee if I send you clients? I pay the highest commissions in the country. Yes. You want to go out and make it a full-time job to bring clients to me, but not personal taxes. We are swamped until mid-September on that. You get corporate purchasing and bring payroll to us. Damn, man, you're going to make you're going to make money, huge money. Bring me payroll clients and corporate purchasing clients. You'll be a rich man in less than a year. Can you help me protect my crypto and get out of Canada? Well, Savage Inc., I mean, just get yourself a hard wallet. Transfer everything to the hard wallet. Put it in your pocket, fly somewhere. That's it. Crypto.com is pretty good. Binance is pretty good. You can use those as temporary stopovers. But yeah, you're just hopefully not going to tell the CRA you have it. Do not tell the CRA that you have crypto. Don't tell anyone you have crypto. By the way, everybody, I noticed right here on TikTok, we've only got 20,000 likes. We got to get to 50,000. Come on, everyone. Start double tapping. Same thing over here on Instagram, by the way. Let's get the likes going because the algorithm really, really likes that. Everyone start liking. If you're on Rumble, it's right about here. You'll see the thumbs up icon. Please hit that. And if you're on YouTube, obviously, you got to hit the like button there. Greatly do appreciate that. And for those who are wondering, yes, Mark Zuckerberg took down all of my Facebook pages. I don't really care that much because I have never made money on Facebook since 2021. There we go. All right, checking the rest of your questions here. Let me check the email box for questions here. What's the price of gas in Panama? Right down the road from here, 87 cents a liter for regular. There we go. Anybody who wants to move to Panama, you got it. There's nothing special that you got to do to get here. When you arrive, you just tell them that you want to buy property. They'll stamp you for 6 months and hang around for 6 months and get a feel for the country. You know, the people are pleasant. The women are pleasant. It's a Christian nationalist country. It very much operates just like Canada of the 1980s, where things are getting built up and people are really enjoying themselves. It's a beautiful place to be. Just show up, check it out for yourself. That's all. If you feel like staying, then that's certainly something I can help you do. But plane tickets are not that bad to get here. If you're flying out of Calgary, typically what will happen is, or Vancouver, you'll land in either San Francisco or Houston, and then you'll land here. If you're flying out of Toronto or Montreal, typically you'll land in Houston or Atlanta and then end up here. Or you can go through Copa Airlines, that's the Panamanian airline, and they'll fly you directly from Montreal or directly from Toronto. There you are. Red Polina says, I was there scoping out Panama in October. It's definitely my go-to soon. I am so happy here. This country is full of opportunity, but the BS of Canada, like the crazy feminists, the weak men, the left-wing nuts, Antifa, BLM, all the insane liberals in the Liberal Party, they're not here. All that nonsense is not here. It is a conservative country. I adore it. Yeah, Copa Airlines, I've always had a good time with Copa Airlines. I mean, it's a no-frills airline. You get on the plane, they'll serve you coffee for the entire time, and you land and you get off the plane. I never had a problem with them at all. Period. We buy homes fast. Rental properties had been included in the previous tax returns. Can you just stop filing in the future? Yeah, absolutely you can. And if you're saying you buy homes fast, then you're probably in the business where I can really shine. There is a way to never pay taxes again on anything to do with homes, including new home builds. I know how to escape the HST on that. So we should probably talk. Anthony says, if I open an American bank account and live in Canada and transfer crypto profits, again, like everyone, crypto, put it on a hard wallet. Keep it. You don't have to move it. It's fine on a hard wallet. You're good. What do you think of a faith-based trust to own a corp? Well, they're good, but you don't need them. There's like every religious group out there has their own style of trust. You can use them. Yeah, you don't even have to be a part of that religion, but you don't need trust. Trusts are expensive. You can do everything through numbered corporations so long as you are not the director and you have a well-written shareholders agreement and a well-written patch of corporate bylaws there that I know how to write well. You swear them in, and that's all that matters. All right, we got 3 minutes to go here. So let me check the Rumble room for the last bunch of questions there. Yes, WestJet did talk about flying to Panama. I have quite a bit to do with that, I might add. I have been shooting my mouth off to all the big investors. I've had many millionaires come down here, and it's wonderful to hang out with millionaires because it's a hot country, but it's a good hot. Like it's not crazy hot like Costa Rica or the jungle elsewhere. Panama's temperature typically is about 83 Fahrenheit. So the millionaires, they all come down. We all get, shorts, golf shirts, and head out. Great restaurants everywhere and just chat about business. Wonderful. A lot of investors are coming here. So WestJet is starting to capitalize on that. I think people have caught on to the fact Nicaragua sucks. Honduras and Guatemala suck. Mexico is way too expensive. Costa Rica is worse. Like cost-wise, you can't survive there. Nobody can. It is way too expensive. And San Jose, as far as capital cities go, has nothing to offer. Panama is the future. Everybody wants a piece of Panama. There we are. XRP thoughts? If I could take nothing but XRP for the rest of my life, I'd be a very happy man. The CRA cannot see your American bank accounts. And the CRA has no jurisdiction, not even in Canada. They are not a judiciary. They are not the courts. They are not judges. They are not cops. The Canada Revenue Agency is nothing. They are a bunch of nobodies. They are criminals, that is for sure, but they are criminals without power. And that's what everyone has to remember. And Mitch says, follow-up question for referrals. You know a lot of business people. Do you offer coaching? Yes, I do offer coaching for anybody who wants to sell what I do for a living. All right, everyone, I got to cut the transmission here on Rumble. We're at our 2-hour mark. So, everyone, my name is Kevin J. Johnston. This is the Tax and Money Show. Tonight was episode number 72. Yeah, we've been at this show for a little while now. We always talk about tax money, the important stuff. How to not pay tax, how to make money. That is what we cover on this show. You'll catch the show live every single Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time right here on freedomreport.ca. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you in a week.